It's been a while since a lot of us, haven't worn pajama bottoms during some of these conversations, right? So, and also many of us have probably seen each other on LinkedIn and on Zoom calls, but it's awesome to be able to meet with everybody again. So thanks for that. Today I'm going to be talking about architecting the next era of digital success. I'd like to think that Aruba's kind of established a brand from a customer success perspective about leading the way around digital engagement. For some of you guys that are aware of us, we actually started a number of years ago. And it was a grassroots effort. We didn't have the organizational debt. Customer success didn't exist in our company. And so, talk about bootstrap. My background is in startups, and so some of that startup experience definitely was valuable coming into this company. And so we had to start off with digital. We didn't have an option of hiring a number of CSMs. And so today I'm going to walk you guys through what we've accomplished and also talk about where we're going. And so with that, a little bit about myself is Carlos Quesada. I'm head of customer success for Aruba Networks. I'm also the head of what we call now the SaaS operations side of the house. One of the things that I'm noticing as a trend is, when you talk about customer success, especially your young folks that aren't familiar with customer success, everybody immediately goes to the CSM. This person manages the CSM team. But in reality, there's a lot of work that happens behind the curtain, right? There's a lot of work that happens with data and analytics and systems integrations and things like that, right? And so what I'm going to walk you guys through today is really, the outcome of that work, but it's not something that I have done myself. So I want to really embarrass a couple people in the audience today, and I'd like Liz and Matt to please stand up. So Matt Harmon is my director of customer operations, and Liz Bermudez out of Miami actually manages my Swarm CSM team, which is another one of the innovative things that we do. So if you guys have any questions on any of the stuff you guys will see today, come talk to any three of us, right? Because of the work that we've done, obviously the team's gotten a lot of great recognition. We got the TSI Finalist Award, we got a couple of other recognitions as well. But the most important recognition of all is I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge, right? I see you. So for those of you guys that don't know, Tatango has an amazing conversation. They bring in professionals from all over the world to meet for one thing and one thing only, right? We get together, we do great team building, we talk about portfolio, but the most important part is everybody here is super competitive. So during our CAB meeting, we had an opportunity to go and actually do a little bit of the chopped scenario. And so yours truly and those two guys over there are actually not, since there wasn't a real gift, they said, the gift was bragging rights, so I couldn't think of any better way of bragging about it than putting it on stage. So again, thanks again for that. We had a great time. It was awesome. All right, so this is where it gets fun, right? I don't want to come up here and just, no offense to anybody, but I'm not a big PowerPoint guy. So I want to actually walk you guys through. I'm a little bit of a storyteller. So what I want to walk you guys through today is you guys are at this conference today, right? Let's assume that all of you guys are the head of an IT department, and you guys purchased our software, right? And it's mid-month. So let's say you get your MBR every mid-month, right? In the earlier conversation, we heard that some vendors or some customers can have up to 70 SaaS applications, right? So what does that mean? That means that you probably have 70 CSMs trying to get a hold of you to give you your monthly business review, right? Like, who's got time for that? So what I'd like to do now is walk you guys through our solution for that.
Hi Arunas. The Aruba Customer Success Team would like to welcome you to your monthly account review. In this monthly account review, we have put together some insights and recommendations to help you experience the most return on investment from Central. Let's dive in. Thank you for being a customer since February 26, 2021. We are excited by the momentum of your account and would like to share some areas of opportunities to help you get the most out of Central. Specifically, we will be going over your subscription overview, license utilization trends, Aruba Central usage activity, and some recommended next steps. Feel free to click the bell icon to check out some helpful links. Let's start by going over your subscription. You have a total of 11 foundation licenses. You have 97 switch devices, and you have 32 IAP devices. We notice that you have assigned 6% of your foundation licenses. By assigning more licenses, you can then connect your devices to Central and obtain a more comprehensive view of your network. We have recently changed our licensing model and have introduced foundation and advanced licenses. You currently have 0 advanced licenses. Did you know? Advanced licenses include all foundation features and add enhanced AI ops security and other premium features, such as end-to-end segmentation, expanded AI insights, UCC visibility, reporting, and more. If you are interested in purchasing advanced licenses, please connect with a customer success manager. Here is your license utilization over the last 6 months. You had a 33% change in license utilization over the last 6 months. Your average month-over-month license utilization rate is 40%. On average, customers like you experience an average month-over-month license utilization rate of 73%. Looks like you are falling below this average. Do you have any questions or would like to connect with a customer success manager to discuss? Preventing unauthorized access is key to avoiding security breaches for your network. Here is a list of users who have most recently logged into your account by days since last login. In your account, a total of 3 people are Airheads members. We highly recommend you to join Airheads to access discussion forums, knowledge base articles, and to connect with networking experts. We notice that you haven't yet utilized these features of Central. We highly encourage you to explore and consider using these features to help streamline network management. Visit Aruba Central help pages to learn more. This wraps up your monthly account review. We value you as a customer, and if there is anything we can do to further assist you, please don't hesitate to contact a customer success manager. Thank you.
Yep. Before we get off the screen, the one thing I do want to talk, thanks for that, guys. Before we get off the screen, one thing I did want to showcase, right, is if you take a look at the finale here, you actually have an option to schedule a call with the CSM. And that's where Liz's team comes in, right? So this is where the Swarm Model C and CSM comes in. This is our Tech Touch customer, but for all of our Tech Touch customers, we have what I call an escape valve. If you want to speak to somebody, we can have you speak to somebody. It's not going to be a dedicated CSM, but you do have an opportunity to speak with somebody, right? So what do you guys think about that? Yeah? Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, if you think about that, right? I mean, the possibilities are endless. I think as CS leaders, we're looking at this and just salivating about what we should do about this customer, right? You know, they activate, the license count's super low, they're not using a bunch of features. I mean, just can't wait to talk to this person, right? So one thing I do want to make sure that I say is that, you know, when we made the decision of a CS platform, we knew that we needed a platform that was going to be flexible and allow this type of innovation and this flexibility. And with everything that we've seen here today, we're super excited about the canvas. We're super excited about the new templates that are coming out. So it just further augments the opportunity to continue to drive some of this innovation. So now that I've showed you guys that, you guys probably want to know what the heck Aruba does, right? Why is this relevant, right? So for those of you guys that have been here for the last couple of days, hopefully you guys have taken advantage of the great Wi-Fi. So this campus actually happens to be an Aruba customer. So Aruba is part of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. We're actually the networking side of HPE. And we provide wireless connectivity, switching, security, software. So if your wireless is amazing, there's one of our access points over there. It's because of us. If it's not, you're probably connected to a Cisco access point. So a little bit about Aruba. Again, we were acquired by HP in 2015, but we've managed to establish and maintain our brand as Aruba because of the strength that it has in the industry. We actually started customer success in 2018. Matt and I were the first 2 people who actually kicked this can around and said we probably need to do something around this. The company had already been working on subscriptions, but we've been treating it like perpetual business. And when we started digging into the data, we're actually working on an attach rate project. We uncovered that, you know, the churn for these customers was not that great, right? And so we started looking at that, and that really birthed, you know, some proactive renewal notification motions. And when we took a look at why customers were churning, we found that many of the customers that were churning never activated their subscriptions. So then that forced us to talk about, well, what do we do to make sure that they activate? So that actually created onboarding capabilities. So we started on the bookends and it kind of collapsed in, and that kind of birthed the customer success program. We actually launched our first digital campaign on January 1st of 2019 to a cohort of about 1,100 customers. Today, we're actually doing this, what you guys saw today, or what you will see today, across an install base of about 11,000 customers globally. In 2021, we actually started the monetization of customer success. So what we've done is we actually are, as part of the CS Ops team, we have a digital journey mapping group within Matt's team, and they're now part of the new service introduction process. So anytime we launch a new service, the actual experience mapping that happens is done by the CS team. And so we've actually created a center of excellence. So what that means is that we create the framework and standardization around how we do customer success, but the delivery teams can live in other parts of the organization. So we do have, you know, very high-touch customer success managers for some of the larger customers, and then we have swarm CSMs that'll work with some of the mid to low-touch customers. But they all leverage the same framework. They're all on Tatango. What next? So from a digital strategy perspective, I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys a little bit of knowledge nuggets, add some value to your guys' conversation today. So things that we already know, right? If you have a highly engaged customer, they're more likely to do business with you, right? That's super important, but here are the metrics around that. But also not only about highly engaged, but they also, Ravi talked about this, we want it to be personalized, right? We don't want to make it look like this message was written by a machine or just, I'm getting the same email everybody else is getting, right? And so for us, that's super key. And again, what we saw today from the product portfolio, absolutely in line with what we're seeing, right? One of the things I wanted to call out is we all know the infamous pyramid, right? Everybody does their segmentation. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, high touch, mid touch, low touch, whatever you want to call it, long tail customer. One of the things we've done from the very beginning is our digital engagement cuts across every segment. So whether you're a high touch customer or a tech touch customer, you will participate in our digital campaigns. You will be getting nudges, you will be getting reminders just to go ahead and be able to support the CSM as they're working on some of these customers. And so the other thing that we do is it creates that consistent look and feel. So whether you're a tier 3, we call it tier 3 customer, which is the bottom of the pyramid, or whether you're one of our largest customers, the welcome letter is going to look the same. Right? We're not going to treat customers any differently. One of the things that I'm excited about is, the Cast app that you guys saw here at the beginning as part of the demo can digitally automatically go to all of our lower touch customers. But the templates that Ravit showed are something that will absolutely help the CSMs as they're engaging with the tier 2 and tier 1 customers. They don't have to go and create those manually, right? They can be automatically created, establishing that consistent look and feel. Meet Steve. One of the things that we did very early on is we actually personified our digital engagement. And so as you participate in onboarding, Steve will greet you. He will introduce you. He will thank you for being a customer. And he'll send you a series of videos of things that we want you to accomplish in the first 30 days, right? One of the things that we did is we studied our install base and we realized that if customers didn't finish onboarding in 40 days, the chance of them actually completing it was slim to none. And so we want to make sure that we are getting customers through the onboarding process within the first 30 days. And so customers will receive emails from Steve, the digital CSM, with videos with Steve in them, walking them through activation of subscriptions, getting them to register on our support portal, becoming part of our Airheads community, and things like that. And so Steve has become pretty popular amongst our install base. We're pretty happy. As we're starting to grow internationally, and we also want to make sure that we're inclusive and diverse, we will have a couple of other digital CSMs that will make sure that we are equally representing everybody. But Steve's been super successful for us. The idea is to engage timely and also contextually with the customer. Again, as I mentioned, our digital engagement cuts across all three. And our secret weapon is Calendly. Right? What we've done is we've embedded Calendly in all of our digital communication to customers. And what this does is it allows the customer to schedule a call with us when they're ready. And we can, in the background, assign the right CSM based on why the customer is asking for help. So the way that we've built Calendly into this is we create individual campaigns based on the digital email that's going out. So when a CSM gets a Calendly invitation for a conversation, they know exactly which email the customer clicked on, which phase of the journey they're on, and probably why they're asking for help. And so now we can have a much more intelligent conversation. All those touch points are logged into the Tango. So when a CSM, again, we do the swarm CSM model. So we don't have dedicated CSMs in the SaaS space right now. We do for some of our advanced service programs. So it's very important for the CSMs to have that context about where the customer is in the journey, who they are, and then we also bring in stuff. Matt does a great job of bringing in information in from marketing, right? We bring in Zoom info, we bring Duns and Bradstreet information. So the CSM is really empowered to understand what industry this customer is and what information does the company have and what should we know about this customer. So if you guys are looking to embark on this journey, where do you start, right? Where do you start? What are the things that you have to consider? Right? So I figured I'd share with you guys kind of what we did, right? One of the first things, as you guys all know, is, well, why are we here, right? What's our charter? When we first started this program, one of the first things that we learned is that 96% of our customer base were tier 3 tech touch customers. 4% of our install base were in the top two pieces of the pyramid. Revenue-wise, it was about 50-50. So what that told me is we had to pay attention to our digital engagement customers. We had to find a way to be able to do this at scale, and that's why we launched with the digital first. But we also knew very early on that because of the maturity of our product, we're not going to be quota-carrying CSMs. It's all about driving adoption, retention, and value for the customers. So then we said, well, what's the experience, right? We had learned that customers weren't getting notifications of the renewal. So what are we going to do for that? We learned that customers are having trouble onboarding. So we're going to do for that. So we created the journey map. We said, this is the things that we want customers to go through. We actually purchased equipment through a local partner as if we were a customer, and we audited the current experience. And from there, we understood where the friction points and the moments that matter were, and then we built our journey map around that. And then that's when we started figuring out, well, how much of this can we automate, right? Data and telemetry, right? We've heard about that all day and every day here. Super, super important. So very important to really go in and build those relationships with IT, build those relationships with the product management so that they're building the telemetry into their product that you need. You know, we've partnered with companies like Pendo and things like that to also be able to extract some of the data when that data is missing. Also very important, you know, right after we kicked this off, we actually hired somebody with a retention marketing background to actually lead our digital comms team. And so that's somebody that's kind of a secret weapon in our team as part of Matt's, who really runs all these campaigns. I mean, this is no different than running a marketing campaign, right? We're tracking open rates, click rates, right? You know, the calls to action and all that. But also very important is we need to make sure that we have alignment with marketing, right? Because we can't be stepping on each other's toes. We set up the rules of engagement. Customer success, they're only going to engage in transactional emails. Marketing's going to do all the promotion for all the new stuff coming out, right? And we also created a map to make sure that we weren't sending out stuff at the same time, right? So if we're sending out a survey, it shouldn't be at the same time marketing's doing one as well. So very, very important to have that alignment and that buy-in with marketing. And then obviously very, very important, we heard it in a couple of other sessions about the opt-in and opt-out policy. You want to make sure that you protect yourself, right? Because these days with all the security concerns, you know, you can get in trouble if you're spamming people and you don't give them the opportunity to opt in and opt out. The other thing I wanted to talk about is supporting cast members, right? So what are the roles, right? What are the roles in the team that help support this, right? And so obviously I talked about we have a digital comm specialist. This person is the one who actually goes and creates the campaigns and helps you know, write the documentation and the emails and things like that that go out. We have the retention marketing specialist. This is the person who's actually looking at the A/B testing, right? Do we get more hits when the email goes out on a Monday versus a Wednesday, right? You know, let's play around with the subject line. Should we make it a little more alarming so people are clicking on this, right? Those types of things. And by the way, in some of these cases, these two could be the same person, right? They don't have to be individual roles. I could have brought a video of Steve to show you guys, but you know, in our case, one of our CSM is actually our digital content creator and a voiceover actor, right? And so he actually voices over the voice of Steve as we get the videos going. So he's actually now become our digital CSM, right? He's like the creator of Steve. CSOps is super important, right? Matt's team. It's all around, you know, building out the Tango for us so that we can go in and trigger these automatically. It's getting the right data into the Tango so we can populate some of these things, right? It's working with the IT team to go and get us the permissions that we need to start firing these things off. So CSOps is super important. But none of this is relevant to our customers unless the message adds value. And so the only way that the message adds value is by having somebody who understands your product, a subject matter expert, right? And so, you know, we've heard the term of customer success engineer. I'm hearing customer success architect. So if you have one of those, this is the type of role that would help enable this. If you don't, this is where you leverage somebody from your support staff, right? From your technical support group. If you have a TME would be a good person to go in and validate, right? What is the message that we're trying to deliver? What are the things that we're trying to accomplish? And how do we talk about it in the words that make sense for the customer, right? And then lastly, we want to talk about this. All of this really enables and empowers that Swarm CSM model, right? I talked about earlier that we have 11,000 customers globally around this digital engagement, right? We have 7 CSMs, right? 7 CSMs for this Swarm model, right? And I actually wanted to take the time to do a quick survey, right? Can you guys raise your hand and tell me how many people answer their phone during the day from a number they don't recognize? Right? 0, right? I mean, we've seen it, right? We've done call blitzes with like a less than 1% success rate, right? When people are calling us or we're reaching out. The other question is, how many of you guys will let a text message go unread for more than 24 hours? This is exactly, you know, taking advantage of the floor. We got validation, Matt. We got to start doing text messaging. So that's exactly the point, right? Imagine that we send you guys that link to that MBR in a text message from Steve, right? Your digital CSM. You can read it while you're in the lobby or you're in the plane or whatever, right? It's something you can consume at your time in your phone. You don't have to be in front of a computer. And so we're looking at playing around with text and different ways of being able to engage with customers. And one last question of the survey. Would you recommend this summit to a friend or colleague? All right, I know that's not the right way to ask NPS, but I was trying to hook up the Tango people. I hope you guys counted all those hands. Right, the one thing I'll take away from this conference is iterate. So I just did the old school way of surveying, and now we have all these automatic ways of being able to collect customer feedback, right? Instead of counting all these hands, we can automate that, right? All the stuff that Tango is doing, right? So that's one thing. So the one thing I'll take away from this conference so far is we got to continue to iterate. This is what I'm going to walk to next is really kind of like our third iteration of what we're looking at to doing from a digital engagement perspective. It's our third wave, right? We can't just continue to rely on what we started on 2 years ago, right? That's one. The other thing that I'm taking away from this conference, I don't know if many of you guys are, is this concept about shifting left, right? That's something that came up during the CAB meeting as well, which is, we heard from Katie yesterday about what she's doing from an onboarding perspective. But, many customers are onboarding during a trial phase, and they're not taking advantage of all the greatness that's happening on onboarding once the customer purchases. So what I'm walking away with is we're going to go have some conversations with the pre-sales team to figure out how we could go in and extend that olive branch, introduce them to Tango, introduce them to our framework, and say, look, we already have this figured out. Why not do this earlier on? And in exchange, you bring us in earlier so that we don't have to try to call and figure out who the customer is. Introduce us in at the right time. All right, so those are the two takeaways for me. I want to make sure I leave time for questions. What are we doing next? So from an industry perspective, there's a lot of talk around AI. We've heard about that, right? So the idea is how can we go in and leverage AI in customer success? We already have the SWAR model. We already have Steve. Well, what if we went and took Steve and threw him in front of a chatbot? Right? We already have, what does onboarding look like for our customers? We already know where the customer is in their journey. So we can actually have a somewhat intelligent conversation with the customer without having anybody really engaged, right? So that's something that we're considering, right? For us, the voice interaction thing, not ready for that just yet, trying to figure out how that would play out, but it is something that I saw and I wanted to share with you folks. Obviously, hyper-personalized experience. You guys saw it as part of the video that I showed at the beginning, right? It's super relevant to that customer. And then also real time, right? We're not just sending you a message that you're getting on the 30th day. You're getting on a message after you cross a particular milestone. So it's super relevant for you right now. So where are we going? Short term, we are actually translating a lot of our digital engagement. And I think right now, Matt, we're currently at 7 languages, right? So right now, as from a global perspective, we're covering 7 languages through our digital engagement. One of the things that we're also doing is we started creating webinars. So we actually invite all of our tier 3 and actually tier 2 and tier 1 customers too to a webinar series. And this gives them an opportunity to participate, right? And to the earlier point from Katie, these are all recorded, right? So the CSMs can actually send them to customers that after they've been archived as value-added engagements to the customer after they finish talking, or we can actually, through this success plan, just proactively send them out to the customer because, we now have the recorded series. We're thinking about videos and podcasts, right, around, bringing in the PMs, meet the PM. We're looking at maybe newsletters to really go in and stay connected with the customers. Historically, we really haven't done a whole lot in social media, so we're looking at that too about how we can engage in social media. Aruba's got a pretty strong presence with regards to our Airheads community. Matter of fact, we have our Airheads conference coming up at the end of this month in Vegas. It's something that our customers really enjoy being a part of, and so we're looking at participating more in our online community. Also, I don't think anybody here, but I'll give them a plug. I don't know if you guys have seen Citrix. We're looking at creating more of a CS presence on our website, right? Historically, you go to any website and you can go in and there's a drop down for support. Why isn't there a drop down for customer success, right? And so one of the things that Citrix does really well is they have that, and they have what we call a web journey, meaning that they actually publish online what are the different steps that they expect a customer to go through during onboarding, during adoption, and all these things. And they have the supporting evidence or the supporting documents to go in and help customers through that. So they are self-help, but we want to take that a step further. We want to have that website, pre-login, and then after they log in, it'll show them specifically where they are in their journey so they can see that they're in step 3 of 5, right? So the customers understand that there's still a couple more things that they got to do. Longer term, we're working with our product team to go and engage with the customers in the product, right? I want to get to the point where we can establish, say, hey, the next time the customer logs in, greet them with this, right? Those are the types of things that we're looking at. Again, we talked about chatbots, we talked about live chat, and then what I wanted to walk you through, and I'm super excited, because I think we can actually now do this with the Tango with the new template that we saw from Ravit. So imagine that a customer fills out or engages with an interactive web form, and they have a series of questions, and the customer gets this as a result, right? This is our version of a customer success plan, right? We wanted to move away from your standard customer success plan that all of us see when you Google and say, what does a CSP look like? And everyone's got that same template, right? We wanted to go in and really go and establish our brand saying, look, CSPs shouldn't look boring. I want to be able to have one of my customers take this PDF and walk in and show it to his boss, right? And so now, with what I saw from Ravit, there's no reason why we couldn't create this as a template that our CSMs could fill out, or a template that can be automatically emailed to a customer, right? And with that, that's all I had. Please connect with me on LinkedIn.